Hello everybody, my name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. There's a new rule that the NBA has passed on that is going to be affecting a lot of teams in the NBA, and we're going to be discussing what it means for the Chicago Bulls in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe depending on where you're watching this from. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the new rules and regulations taking place that allows for, I guess, the rest of plays to be minimized, and that you're going to get to see the best players on the court for the vast majority of times. Now, I'm going to read it because, again, there's a lot to understand here. Basically, it's a rule that allows for, I guess, it's intended to promote player participation in the NBA's full 82-game regular season and prevent teams from resting more than one star player on any given night. So again, essentially, their aim is to have as many star players on the court as possible, try to minimize load management and trying to ensure that the consumer, which would be me, Bulls fans, NBA fans across the world, gets the best source of entertainment every single night. On the grand scheme of things, it looks like a very, very good rule. But of course, on the other side of things, a lot of people might not be very happy with this rule. So first, let's start off with the teams that it might impact the most. And I think the best team, the mean team in this situation, is the Clippers. The Clippers is always going to be the team that is looked at. Granted, they're kind of in an injury crisis instead of just resting players, but you know, once those players return, once those players come back, once that team is healthy, load management is going to be a big issue for them, and they need to figure that out. And again, it's going to be a situation where superstar players are going to have to play, and you're going to have to rest one of them and maybe rest the other one on a different day instead of trying to load manage and rest a couple of your stars in the same night. Essentially, as well, when it comes to what is considered a superstar, or a star, it's a player that I believe has been in the All-Star game, or has been an All-Star within the last previous seasons. 3 previous seasons, my apologies. So again, a 3-year time span from when you were last an All-Star. So if it's the Bulls, I believe the 2 players that would be considered stars on this team is Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, because they were both All-Stars 2 seasons ago. I don't think Vucevic has been an All-Star in 3 seasons. He's been on the Bulls for 3. Maybe Vucevic, before he got traded to the Bulls, maybe he was an All-Star that year. So maybe Vucevic is in that category as well. You can let me know. But essentially, if Vucevic is not an All-Star this year, that list could potentially change next year for him. Because again, an All-Star list is going to be ever-changing. So, you know, some people will be considered a star this year. They won't be considered a star next year. You get the idea. And it does affect teams. And it does mean teams are going to have to plan differently for the regular season. And it does mean teams are going to have to prepare differently for, you know, how to minimize minutes and stuff like that. I think you're going to see a lot of stars get lesser minutes in games, even though they're considered playing, because that's going to be the counter of how NBA teams load manage their stars. For example, let's say, again, we'll give the Clippers as an example here. Kawhi Leonard, obviously a guy that's dealt with injuries over the past multiple seasons, and they need to load manage him so they could get him ready for a playoff season, right? I think it's going to be a situation where Kawhi maybe gets 5 to 10 minutes a game, and then they rest it for the rest of the game. I don't know if that's considered against the rules. Maybe that's part of the rules. I'm not too sure. But I think that's what people are going to go to next in terms of load managing. Yes, they're playing. They're here. Wave. They're shooting shots for 5 to 10 minutes. But then after that, they're probably going to be resting for the majority of the game. They're not going to get the exact same minutes every single game. So we'll wait and see if they try to rectify that, or maybe that is already rectified. But how does this affect the Bulls? In my opinion, it doesn't affect the Bulls at all. I think the best thing about this Bulls team, and you could question all the negativity, how bad we are, how good we are, whatever the case may be, we have players that want to play games. It's as simple as that. DeMar DeRozan has been one of the most durable players in recent history. That's all there is to it. And he talks about constantly how much he hates missing games. And someone with that love and passion for the game of basketball on your team, not going to affect you in that regard. Unless he's injured, he's going to be playing. Zach LaVine has always talked about playing under injuries and playing under pain, and how he considers himself that warrior type of guy that is going to be playing through pain. In any way he's able to play, he will play. He's talked about it constantly. So load management is more on Zach LaVine's side of things. a Bulls decision instead of a Zach LaVine decision in my eyes. The Bulls management, the Bulls coaching staff trying to keep Zach LaVine healthy rather than Zach LaVine, I guess, saying, I don't want to play today. So I truly believe it won't affect Zach LaVine, especially because he'll be healthier this upcoming season. And Vucevic, if he's considered part of this, regardless if he isn't or not, played a whole 82-game season last season. So this doesn't affect the Bulls that much, in all honesty. And maybe it might affect us more with Lonzo Ball coming back in 2 seasons' time. But right now, well, technically he's not even considered a star. He's not an all-star. So it probably won't even affect him that much. But again, it doesn't really affect the Bulls at all. So essentially, the superstar players that we have on this team all want to play and all will play. So there's not going to be much effect for the Bulls whatsoever. Thank goodness for that, because other teams are going to be really hit hard with these types of, I guess, new laws or rules. Some teams are going to have to prepare differently. Some teams are going to have to try and abuse other forms of rules that are not in place to get away with load management and stuff of that nature. This minimizes load management. I don't think it kills load management. And it's a big word, load management. Some people don't even have a problem with it anymore. But back in the day, there was no such thing as that, in my opinion. Now, it's become a very big thing in the NBA, and they have to find a way to stop it. But at the same time, you have the counter argument of how these players that deal with injuries every single season, like a Kawhi Leonard, like a superstar player, even a Paul George. Again, I don't mean to just bash the Clippers here, but they're probably the most injury-riddled team over the past 3-4 seasons. So how can you expect those guys to just come in after they're fully healthy and not load manage them, not get them to be ready for actually sustaining their health? Instead, someone that comes back from injury that's considered an all-star is going to come in and at the end of the day, play all these games that they're not supposed to be playing, or at least taking the time out every now and then, and the team's going to get punished for that. So there's counter arguments to it all, but ultimately, as a consumer of the NBA, as someone that doesn't necessarily understand how grueling the NBA is, as someone that doesn't necessarily understand the pain and the effort that these players go through, I don't know these things. I am very much unaware, unknowledgeable in these types of things. I don't know how players feel about this, but I can understand that there's a lot that I don't go through that these players will go through, and they will have their own different opinions on that. And especially players that are riddled with injuries every season, that are superstar players, they might see this differently compared to how I see it. But as a consumer, as an NBA fan, of course you want to see the best players play every single night. There's not really much else to say. Of course, when you want to see the Lakers, you want to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis play. You want to go to Milwaukee, you want to see Giannis play. You want to go to the Dallas Mavericks, especially Dallas. They took Luka out of a game mid-game to not make the play-in. You never want to see that as an NBA fan. That sucks to see. Granted, there wasn't an injury concern or anything like that, but that happened mid-game. That should not happen. So again, all those things, right? Those things are hopefully the aims that should be minimized. And as a consumer, I'm not really having I don't have a problem with that. As a player, or the players should know, most players might have different opinions. It's really simple as that. Let's wait and see. But I'm going to end this video here. Thank you all for watching. Drop a like and a follow, or subscribe if you're new. What do you think about the new rule? How does it impact the Bulls? I guess we'll find out soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.